There we go, we're back. I am Stamford Chidge, this is the Chelsea FanCast. That is Darren, that is Ross, and this is my great friend Marco Worrell, who is a legend. Now, annoyingly, we could rather probably sit here and just talk about what we did in the pub for the next 2 hours. That would suit me. But annoyingly, we do have to talk about some football and mainly what happened at the Palace game. And I've got a musical theme. Tonight, you'll be very pleased to know. The first bit of this part is going to be called The Killing Joke. Probably my favourite band. But it just seems to me that this whole... Bass player
called
Youth. There you go.
Good word.
There was one called Raven, to be fair, but Youth is the original. But the thing is that it seems to be the same issue every week. We seem to be creating loads of chances and not finishing and killing teams off. And actually, what's very interesting is that Jose said as much after the match. I'll just read you this quote that he said. We keep creating lots of chances. We get in great positions but are not killing games. The result of this game could have been 5-1 or it could have been 2-2. We have to kill matches in our good moments because in the bad moments we panic a little bit and you could feel the atmosphere. We're a little bit panicky. We have to kill matches. On a day when every chance is a goal, we will win 6 or 7-0 because we create a lot of chances. I thought that pretty much summed up all the problems. But, Ross, there is another quote that I got, because actually there's a bit, with all the talk of moments, I thought he was getting a bit Carlo Ancelotti. And lo and behold, apparently, now we don't know, Ross being Ross has already told me that this is a load of rubbish and it wasn't Ancelotti at all, but I'm going to roll with it for a second. But apparently, Ancelotti said this, he said, Chelsea's style of play is essentially false nine. You never see them whipping in crosses or putting through balls for the striker. Neither do their three attacking midfielders play around the striker. They play among themselves. The defence and playing out... the only problem is that instead of deploying a player to protect the defence and playing outright false nine, they use that player as a striker who is essentially useless. Good spot. They could put Falcao, Cavani, Lewandowski, Messi, Rooney, Van Persie, absolutely anyone as a number 9. Their striker will never score 30-odd goals a season or bang hat-tricks in with this system. And also, they will keep losing games because while playing false 9, one player is required to protect the defence. Instead, that one player, the striker, is doing nothing on the field. So, Ross, what do you think about that? Because you don't think that... You think that's a load of rubbish?
Well, me and Chad Googled it before the show, and it's not being reported in any mainstream media.
You're just trying to make me look stupid, or what?
No, I don't think Ancelotti would say banging a hat-trick, personally. Do you?
Oh, he might. He was in London long enough. He got a bit of the lingo. JT would have been talking to a bit about it. I don't know.
But I don't think on the one hand we can say whoever we put up front wouldn't score any goals, and on the other say, well, we're creating lots of chances but not putting them away.
I just thought it was a very interesting perspective on it. But at the end of the day, it's the thing that struck me about the game on Saturday. Is it the strikers or is it the midfielders? Because I tell you what I saw a lot of the time. I saw, breaking forward, and then, Palace would, basically they slow it down. Whoever had the ball would slow it down rather than going for the jugular. And then Palace would get back in numbers. And then the first thing that would happen, Mata would have it, he'd pass it to Hazard. Hazard would then pass it to Mata. Mata would then pass it to William. William would then put, but basically all the movement was sideways in front of the penalty box. Nobody's putting a through ball in.
I personally think what's been interesting, we've chased games this season like no other season. Yeah. We've gone behind more times than I can remember, which inevitably has led to Jose switching it, and maybe he's gone 3 at the back, pushed 2 up front, and then put another sub on and pull the game around. And if you watch Manchester City when they're playing, they've got Negredo and Aguero up front. And when I was growing up as a little boy, it was like 4-4-2, and that was what it was all about. 2 people up front. I just think Chelsea now, other teams come to Stamford Bridge to play Chelsea, and they know what to expect. Or tippy-tappy stuff in the middle of the park. If you can stop that and get forward, you'll score a goal. And that has happened, I can't remember, it's a lot of times this season.
It has, hasn't it, mate? I mean, it fascinates. I had a really good chat with Greg, actually. I mean, you'll be amazed to know, Greg and I actually hardly ever talk about football. Sometimes I suspect that you can see this when you watch the show. But we did actually have a good chat about the football earlier on, and I was saying to him, you look at that team, all right, and it seems to me to be a bunch of players, a majority of players that you either think, are you playing in your best position, or is this your best position? And actually, you go through that team, how many of those players are actually playing in what is their best position?
Exactly.
Or look at the others and say, well, I don't actually know what their best position is. I mean, I'd love somebody to tell me, what is Ramirez's best position? I don't think it's a defensive midfielder.
That's really bizarre. I was having a conversation about that the other day. He does not have a specific position.
I think you can actually take that. If you start with the team at the back, I mean, obviously Petr Cech is playing in
we
his
know
best
he's the
position.
goalkeeper. He's the only one.
Exactly.
In all seriousness.
John Terry is playing in his best
JT,
position.
we know he is.
So Azpilicueta is a right back.
He's playing well, though.
Back. He is,
he is.
But he's a right back.
It's still a similar role, but yes.
Ivanovic, is he a centre back or a right back?
So he's in the wrong position, or what is his best position?
Is David Luiz a midfielder, defensive midfielder, or a central defender?
And then you go up the midfield. I mean, I think Mikel is the best defensive midfielder in the club, whether people like it or not.
In the world.
Well, one could argue. Ramirez, I don't think, is a defensive midfielder. Frank isn't. Then you go further up the field, you know, what is the best position for Mata and Hazard and Willian and Schürrle? I mean, Greg was saying, well, Schürrle's a winger. And I'm saying, well, but he cuts inside all the time. You know, for me, Marco and I would probably agree on this. For me, a winger is a guy who runs very fast down the wing, beats players, gets to the byline and puts a cross into the box. That's a winger.
Jesper Gronk,
yeah. Even Jesper Gronk, well, he would fall over usually in front of us, actually, in gate 17, bless him.
But who's there, though? What's the point of someone going down the byline to cross it in when you've got...
Well, bang on, mate. You've hit the nail on the head. No, I agree with Darren. That was my punchline on this.
I disagree, because I think if you have someone who has that threat, it stretches the defence more. And I think the problem is we've got Oscar, Willian, Mata, and actually even Hazard to an extent. They're all really more number 10s than they are wingers. We don't have an orthodox one. Schürrle's the best player who plays out wide. Yeah. But as you say, he cuts inside. He doesn't beat that man. He doesn't stretch the opposition back four across the field.
I would love to know, Mr. Cheddar, what are your benches saying, and what are the Mixler and Twitter people saying? Because it's a confusing issue, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start with on Mixler here. Elder66 has said that our fullbacks can't cross and our strikers can't score. It's simple, really. Love to see Jose put Mata on the left, Hazard on the right, and give Schürrle a go as a striker to give us some proper width. And
but excuse me, I'm sorry to butt in, Chad, but see, that emphasises the point that we've just made. You know, I'm sorry, but Schürrle is not a striker. So, I mean, I understand what he's saying, and I mean, maybe it's desperate enough to do that, but we have a major problem that 80% of our team are either playing in the wrong position or we don't know what their best position is. And I mean, I actually feel sorry for Mourinho, because he's inherited this absolute shambles of a buying policy. And it's amazing that we're doing as well as we are. And I think you have to say hats off for Mourinho for being able to do that. Anyway, back to you, Chad.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine. I mean, there's people, as always, we've got Writer 11 here, saying it's a shame we can't bring Lukaku back, really. But, Lukaku is somebody who would play up there. And the other player that we've got at the club that is good at taking players on the outside is somebody like Moses, who is a winger, and we've let him go as well. But I don't know what any of you guys think. I'd
love to know what the boys behind you are thinking. What do they reckon about all this?
I mean, I just think the shape's wrong with the team as well.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. Just going forward, we're just not making chances for Troy. He had one chance on Saturday, and I think he scored it.
What about you, Dan?
I think the build-up play is very slow. Pass, team gets behind the ball and then we can't do anything. We'll start backwards, forwards and nothing happens. But, Torres doesn't make himself available enough.
You know what? It all leads to one inextricable even conclusion, which is the other musical segment of this part, which is Panic at Stamford Bridge, Marco. Because, I mean, what I noticed again on Saturday was that it seems to me that a lot of the teams, whether they be, a big team or a little team, they kind of press us very, very quickly when we have the ball in their third, knowing that we'll either do a sloppy pass and give it away or get tackled easily. And because we're quite gung-ho, we've got all of our players gone forward, that we lose the ball and then they counter-attack us. And it is panic stations at times, isn't it, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I do. And I think I don't buy into this philosophy about Jose, needing time to sort it out and the team in transition. I mean, Chelsea's been in transition ever since Mr. Abramovich arrived to take it over.
That's very true.
We've had a different manager pretty much. every other year, if not every year. So, it's a constantly moving feast. Mourinho's an experienced guy. He came in at the beginning of the summer with a brief to, perhaps deliver the Premier League title, and perhaps he will do that.
Yeah,
we could do that. We go to the Emirates on Monday night and beat those guys. Liverpool will beat Cardiff at the weekend, but then they have to go to Man City. So we could be top of the table at the end of this year, and all this discussion, people will say, what are those guys talking about? You're top of the league.
Well, you know what? I agree, and I've got to be honest. It does feel weird carping and moaning about how the team are playing when we're picking up points and we're there or thereabouts in every single competition that we're in there for. But I would happily see us play absolutely dire football, complete and utter nonsense and rubbish, if we win any one of those competitions. I don't care. For me, it's about winning. I don't care about pretty football. I'd like to win.
Well, last season we won the Europa League.
Yeah.
And
awful, weren't we?
Yeah. We won the Champions League and the FA Cup.
Awful.
But the thing is, we've got the team now to play good football. Mourinho's got a lot more experience now than when he was last at us. First time round, you thought it was very disciplined, and that's what he needed to do to win. He sort of broadened his horizons and everything else. And with the players we've got, I just think that maybe we could be playing better football. I'm not saying I necessarily expect it now, but I would do it at some point under him.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy, of course I am. I'm the happy one.
I know you're always happy, Darren. You're the happiest soul I know, mate.
But yeah, you can't not be happy. Like you said, we're winning games. We're still in every competition. We will win the league this season. We've got a great chance to win the Champions League. Yeah, of course I am.
I mean, City look a bit useful.
Yeah, but I don't think Pellegrini's got it yet. I think he's going to take at least a year to settle in, and Mourinho's got a proven record everywhere he goes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Pellegrini doesn't, and he embarrassed himself a bit at Real Madrid, and they lost to a team about the third flight.
But they're more of a basket case than we are, Real Madrid. And anybody can fail there,
Yeah, but Mourinho, again, he got the highest points tally for a team that hasn't won the league there, and he will for us. We do know, everyone knows, you cannot question what Mourinho's done. And like Marcus says about transition, since Jose was first there, Ancelotti's the only one that's actually completed a full season. He had 2 seasons. We've had 7 managers, and only Ancelotti's been given a whole season. So you are right, it is a team in transition.
There is an even more important issue at stake here, Darren, because as I said earlier on, I mean, I think it's quite worrying that when other teams, lower teams even, attack us, that they seem to go through our midfield like a knife through butter. And one could ask, what is the point of our defensive midfield? But I've got the answer, because actually we had extra manpower in our defensive midfield on Saturday in the shape of this. I hope the boys in the gallery are listening. There we go. I know it's a bit of a shonky photograph because it was hard for me to take off the telly, but you see that white object? That is a plastic bag. And I was not the only one that noticed this. Apparently Dan Levine, at Blues Chronicle, noticed that possibly that plastic bag was in contention for man of the match for Chelsea.
Yeah, just dropped back into left back.
I love his positioning's perfect, because we are actually attacking, and I suspect what will happen next, it's like that question of sport thing, what happened next?
Chamak.
What happened next? The ball goes up there, we lose it, and then they absolutely bomb down the right flank. But don't worry, because the plastic bag is there to clean up the mess.
What can work out about the plastic bag? When it was going near the middle of the pitch, the Palace player picked it up, ripped it off, and dropped it again. So now you've got 2 bags there. Yeah. What was the point?
Well, there we go, because I don't know. The short answer to that.
About 10 years ago, I saw us lose at 1-0 to Charlton. Utterly dire game. I mean, we talk about we're playing bad football now, but I think it was that awkward spell under Ranieri.
It's got a blues ring, but playing bad football. It's getting worse. Bad football. Sorry,
anyway,
go on. He's off. I got him.
And we're playing bad football.
All me and my mate Adam could do was...
Ross, go on.
All we could do was watch the plastic bag for an entire half.
It's more entertaining, though. I think they had great movement.
Yeah,
silky skills.
Yeah,
a lot of experience, silky skills. And it did actually tackle quite a lot of the Palace players, I thought. So it had a nose for that too.
And then Yassi Benayoun came on as substitute.
Never mentioned that word, ever. Right, we've got to move on, because the other thing I want to talk about is another title of a very... Funny enough, Marco was telling me, he tweeted this morning, dance, 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 dance to the radio, which, of course, all you Joy Division fans out there know is transmission. But one of my favourite ones is Atmosphere. And suddenly this becomes very appropriate, because a lot of talk about this after Saturday, because the stripy Nigels, bless their hearts, were absolutely taking the mick. Very well organised, very loud, I think a lot easier to do that when you're away. But I just wonder, here's the other thing, because on Thursday and Friday, as you know, we all know, the email got sent out to the lads who sit in the Matthew Harding lower and the shed lower, basically saying that if you stand up or you persistently stand, the club will ban you, and that means no more season ticket, no more refund, do not pass go, do not collect £200 and go to jail, effectively. Very nice, thank you, club. Well, the Supporters Trust responded with an open letter to Ron Gourlay to tell him what we thought about it, but...
is that like when it's not sealed down?
Yes. No, it was open in the fact that it was publicly available to everybody. It wasn't a private lesson. That's what he meant. But I mean, we've got a picture. We've got a picture of the Matty Harding
open letter.
Now, so you know where I stand, Marco. So you're familiar with that
where you
view?
sit, Where you sit.
Well, I'm at the back, so I can. Yeah. But anyway, the bottom line is everybody in the Matty Harding lower there is standing. So fat lot of good it did them, But I think it is outrageous. I mean,
But we know it will never happen. I mean, I don't really like us just singing stand up if you hate Tottenham at home games, but half the reason is because it gives everyone an excuse to stand up, and they know they can't do anything. Yeah, and they know they can't do anything about it, the stewards. They can say they've got to be seen to act.
It was so silly because it's so out of step. I mean, actually, if you want to have a look at the letter that the Sports Trust wrote to the club, you can do so. You go to chelseasupporterstrust.com/news, and the letter's on there. But, the whole point of the letter, and we copied in the Football Sports Federation, safe standing, all these people, it's so out of step with all the other clubs. I mean, people like Cardiff and Sun, it's nothing to do with the council.
No, but you don't know. They've said things before about it,
It's a private club. It's a ground regulation instituted by a private club. It is not illegal to stand.
There's been no cases up and down the country of councils closing sections down because of persistent standing. It's supposed to be, a threat. Not a threat, but a legal way of getting people to sit down. But they've never actually followed through with it.
I don't know. I think they've mentioned.
The only person I know that follows through is Darren.
Yeah.
After a curry.
It's more times than that, Marco.
After Denise's.
The fact of the matter is, I think we made a good response. It'll be very interesting to see what the club do, if anything. But
nothing.
they may well do nothing. But they are fundamentally out of step with the feeling in the Premier. I mean, the Premier League, the people who run the Premier League are actually saying to clubs, well, look, we know it's not supposed to happen, but look, we understand we can't control it, so maybe we need to look at this in a more liberal way. And I think that is the way forward. OK, I will just check with the benches very quickly to see what they think about this. You're all sitting down. I mean, you're the last people to talk. Stand up if you hate Tottenham. Stand up. It's all right. Well done, Andy.
Yeah, go on, Andy.
Do they ever make away fans sit down? I mean, I've never seen them.
Never seen it. Never.
They always say
they used to years ago. I think the disabled section was down that corner.
Yeah, they used to always announce it. Yeah, twice a match. Yeah,
right.
They said though that it's too much hassle to get the away fans to sit down. It's the same when we go away. The home fans always say, "Well, what away led to?"
Sat down at an away game.
Yeah. Oh well, never mind. Okay, obviously something's going to run and run. I think maybe it'll be a standing argument. Right now, we haven't really got time to discuss the last thing that I was going to talk about, which is how soon is now. But I am going to take it as read that Chelsea are absolutely going to smash somebody 5, 6 or 7, because I actually do think it's
Arsenal
on the cards.
On Monday.
Wouldn't that be fun? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0, as we did at the library many years ago.
Is this a fire drill?
Is this a fire drill? Now, it's not a fire drill, but we are actually going to go for an ad break, and we will be back in a few minutes to talk about the fannies or our match awards for this week. I can't wait.